Good morning. It's really a pleasure to host this conversation with one of our rock stars. Okay, in fact we met 2 weeks ago with the excuse of Puzzle X. This is the new materials opportunity that we are bringing to our ecosystem.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will spend the next 30 minutes, okay, with a real example of something super big created in Barcelona that is disrupting digital health. You are very aware that health model isn't sustainable. We are getting older, okay, and thanks to technology, we will be able to create a better health model, empowering patient, shifting from the treatment of disease to treatment of the patient, and why not bringing the doctors where the patient is, or universalizing, democratizing this kind of sector. So before going ahead on this really spectacular 5 years old?
The company?
Yes.
No, since 2014.
2014, 17, more or less.
More or less.
It's true that in the case of COVID, we should discount it, no?
Yes,
the COVID
that's
time,
correct.
okay?
That's correct.
First of all, let me introduce myself, okay? I'm Sala. I'm the managing director of Collider, a technology transfer program, that is the innovation program, MWCapital Foundation. MWCapital, for those who don't know us, is a private public foundation created 10 years ago with one main objective: take advantage of a big opportunity, this Mobile World Congress, and 4 years from now, this big ecosystem that sets Barcelona as the Mobile World Capital in 3 days, but there's a big ecosystem there that happens in Shanghai, in Barcelona, Los Angeles. Why not to promote and create the conditions to promote digital transformation of the society and to be sure that no one is left behind? And we are working with this big vision, create this legacy with public government, so I mean Spanish government, Catalan government, Barcelona City Council, other corporates that want to be part of this disruptive conversation worldwide. Perhaps we are in the most exciting era of humanity. Thanks to technology, we are able to now have global conversations, connecting talent, and COVID has showed us that the way how to do that. So, regarding our ecosystem, Barcelona and Spanish ecosystem is really in a very sweet moment. We have the ingredients for creating good talent. We are very competitive in terms of salaries. No? Perhaps, yes. Rod, you can share with us what's the situation in other countries. Okay, we are one of the favorite destinations for entrepreneurs that want to choose our city. And in terms of startups or investors, we are really a really fantastic moment. And where in our market valuation of startups, it has multiplied for 5 in the last 5 years, okay, with 9 of the current startups, unicorn startups in Europe. Okay, this is something that I remember the debate 3 or 4 years ago. They said, no, we are good at creative, but not scaling. No, this is not happening today. And in the case of investors, only in this half a year, 2021, 6 months, they have invested in nearly 2 billion euro in Spain. That it was the same that all 2019, let me not asking in 2020, because of COVID, I think it's better to discount that moment. So investors, in this case, 50% non-European, are seeing our country, are seeing Spain, are seeing Barcelona of one of the places to be. And on the other hand, Barcelona is working in network with other ecosystems worldwide. And it's about innovation, it's about community. If we move forward into digital health, okay, thanks to one report that I recommend for you who don't know to read it, made by MWCapital at the beginning of the first quarter of the year, said that in the case of health sector, it was this, for those who don't know, it's the second health sector that's contributing most in our economy, with nearly 8% of GDP, with more than 1,200 companies, nearly 90 research institutions, nearly 200,000 people working there, with nearly 4 of each startups that are spin-offs, so are coming from the research. So this is very, very sweet, and this is a very good moment. In an example of that, this sector has increased nearly 50% in startups and investors. Investors last year was created in last 2 years nearly 300 million euros in nearly 41 investment operations. So, and in this sector, it's true that this is sector mainly dominated by biotech.
Correct.
But this digital health, or less about digital, is a big word, no, Rod? So we can talk about medtech, therapeutics. So this is increasing, and this is happening here. So I'm completely sure, as Miguel Vicente, a good friend, a president of Tech Barcelona, who was announcing 3 or 4 years ago, the next unicorn will be based in Barcelona. I'm sure the next global solution to improve digital health will arise from our ecosystem. An example of that is Rod. So,
well, not Rod. Advances in surgery.
Okay, so it's really a pleasure, Rod, to host you today, to follow this conversation. Thanks for joining us, because how many countries are you working on?
185. Well, we usually say 184 plus 1, because China is a universe.
Sure.
You know, it's 184 plus China.
Okay, so, and they are not working the same work time, no?
No. In fact, this morning we had a meeting with our team in Hong Kong and in Shanghai, and usually that happens around 4:30 a.m. in the morning, yeah.
Wow.
It's a crazy global community that we have.
Okay, it's a community. Okay, so before going ahead and helping with us to know you better and know AIS, let me introduce yourself for those who don't know him. Rod Menchaca, Rodrigo, okay, but he prefers to say Rod, okay, is PhD, is the CEO of Advanced in Surgery, is AIS Channel, the same familiar talk about Netflix in the surgery, okay, partner and Mod.io, BA, and mountain bike enthusiastic. I think it's from a different panel we could...
Doesn't look like, but I love to practice mountain bike, yes.
I think you are finding a midpoint to speak all the languages, okay? Yes. I don't know if it's a good relationship between sport and entrepreneurs in the global scale. I think mountain is an attitude, no? Rod brings a moonshot mood to AIS as a creative, research-driven, and award-winning industry leader in digital innovation with over 28 years international experience. 28, so...
28, yeah. I started really young. The early beginnings of the internet.
we are not getting older. I think we were very proud to live very close to this epicenter.
We're getting wiser instead of older. Yeah.
But we lived all this, the epicenter. The global transformation, no? It's 28 years or so. The world changed 20 years ago, okay? He's skilled in grasping the big picture and was in conceptualizing, developing, and implementing online knowledge transfer solutions. Knowledge transfer collider is what we do. So really an honor, really fantastic. Thanks for making it super easy. It can take me 2 minutes just to convince me to be here on the stage with us today. Rod, please, the floor is yours. Before going ahead into AIS, if you want to add anything regarding your experience, your profile, whatever you want.
My background, well, I was really lucky. I was there since the early beginnings of the internet, when I was one of the first VVS chatters. You know, was 1983, and well, I was part of the first transmission. 17 universities from the States, and we were getting connected to this place called the Virtual Square, and we had synchronized computers without the cloud, without internet, without operative systems, and we were connected chatting with a black screen and yellow fonts. So, and I started there, and then I have been working for several companies, including the University of Phoenix, including Google. I was in charge of the behavior-driven learning department of Google. We were using the same code of the marketers, but for the good, for education. So I was part of the Google University project, and then I have been working in doing something hard and simple at the same time, which is to put all that power in the benefit of healthcare education. And over the last 5-6 years, 100% focused in surgery.
Okay, perfect.
So that's my
how important is to find this mid-language to involve all the stakeholders, no? In this case, it's practitioners, researchers. At the end is what we try to do, which we want to transform our research ecosystem, knowledge, top 12 worldwide. Spaniard research knowledge is top 12 worldwide. But the same transfer to the market requires different conversations. In our case, we bring in the same table, transferring these solutions to market, research knowledge to market, so with building startups, mainly in digital health, agro, and clean tech with researchers, corporates, and entrepreneurs. This is our magic recipe. I understand it would be perhaps the same in your case, no? To be sure that you are finding and setting a right language for all these stakeholders, no?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And also to understand that, today with technology, in probably one of the hardest markets, which is healthcare,
Okay.
and we all know that, right?
Sure.
COVID-19, all the lessons learned, et cetera, et cetera. If you are able to accelerate or to create something in healthcare, for sure that's going to be applicable to every single market because it's one of the most restricted markets and business verticals that we can have. And also, let me explain a little bit about advances in surgery because probably, our audience needs to know that a little bit more. What we do is we turn the operating theaters into TV studios all over the world. We put cameras, we connect all the sources of the operating theater, and we do a live transmission to an average of 120 countries with 25 to 35,000 surgeons connected. And they are asking questions, and in real time, the surgeon we have the surgery pre-recorded, but the surgeon is answering questions, is explaining how they are doing the surgery. For this reason, and this is my first, probably biggest message here, the need is that surgery has advanced more over the last 15 years than in the past 150.
Okay.
What that means? That means that the knowledge has been concentrated in a short period of time. Today, the holders of that knowledge are 55 to 65 years old. So what we need is to make them transmit that knowledge before they get retired.
Oh, wow.
Because of this acceleration.
I guess you are starting in surgery, afterwards you are moved to other sectors, or not?
Well, in today's world, you don't need to think in a solution just for one specific market. I think today we are co-creating, right?
Okay.
And sometimes we have startups or people coming to AIS asking us about, we were the first ones doing the first 5G telementored surgery, the distance surgery. And we have people from complete different industries coming to our operating theater, our quirófano, right?
Okay.
And asking us about our experience with 5G to apply that to cruise ships or to any other market and solution.
And what's your story? How would everything start?
Well, this started because of Antonio Di Lacy. Here in Barcelona, we have probably one of the top 5 living surgeons, most relevant living surgeons in the planet. And he created a couple of techniques to do surgery. And because of the complexity of those techniques, he decided to start transmitting his surgeries in YouTube.
Okay.
And in parallel, he created a blog, and in that blog, he was publishing those surgeries. And after the first surgery that he transmitted, he had 446 followers from 17 countries.
Okay. Oh.
After all these years, today we have, as I said, an average of 25,000 from 120 countries. So the idea was born with a simple need of accelerating the learning curve of a surgeon in the benefit of the patients of the world.
Okay. No one is listening now. Okay. How is it working with a top? I guess that Dr. Lathi is one of your members, no?
Yes. The founder, the president.
Founders.
Yeah.
How is it working with a researcher?
It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy because I have been working in innovation during my entire life, and when you are just coding, well, you can be creative. You just can add a new module, a microservice here, whatever. But when you are in the clinical side, every single step should go through an ethical committee, should not be debatable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to put our engineering brains by the side of people that are scientists, force us to be more accurate in every step. So this is why I was telling you that, if you cross the line and you put a digital product out in the healthcare sector, probably you are going to be far away with the highest restrictions and regulations. So you can apply this in any other market because for sure it's going to be more simple.
So for the people that are attending today, there's good opportunities, a good example there. And what's the biggest pain that you see in health education, and how do you solve it?
The biggest pain, in healthcare education is today the world is not balanced. It's not balanced. Sure. And sometimes when we think from Europe, from the States, from Asia, from China, because China is like almost, at least in parallel, we are doing some thoracic surgeries from China, and they have way more experience because of the volume, right? So the biggest challenge is not to get lost in the advances. I know that our name is Advances in Surgery, but and to understand that we are in a global spectrum, you need to think not only in the best surgeon to make that super surgeon a better surgeon, but also in the surgeon that is in Africa, probably in Mali, inside of an operating theater, and is a multi-surgeon. Sure. In the morning, he's operating, a knee, and in the afternoon, something related to the colon. So, and probably that's the biggest challenge, to try to balance what's happening in one side of the world and what's happening in other places. Because
I guess that your business model is connecting the manufacturers, no, for producing machines with the hospital, the doctors, no?
Yes, our business model is very simple. We know that following that thought, the world is not balanced. Okay. So 97% of the surgeons of the planet cannot have access to high-quality education.
Sure.
They don't have the money or the time or resources, whatever. Or they are in a country without internet or good connectivity, right? So what we do is we provide this service for free for the surgeons.
Sure.
So this year we're going to reach 1 million surgeons in our database.
Wow.
1 million, we're talking about, if we think that the surgeons in the planet are 1.2 million, more or less, plus the residents, so we are addressing, we are by far the largest platform for surgeons today. So how we do it, and this is the creative part of the business model. What we do is we talk with the industry players, Johnson & Johnson, Medtronic, Olympus, the ones that creates tools and devices for the surgery itself, right? And we tell them, look, we have this surgeon in this country who is going to perform this surgery using your devices. And we are going to transmit this for free to the world, but you need to release X amount of money to make that happen.
Okay.
Why you are going to do that? Again, for a simple reason. That surgeon who is a rock star is using your equipment.
Sure.
And the rest of the world is going to see that that surgery was amazingly performed with your equipment. In simple terms, we are doing nothing but the old-fashioned product placement that was put it out in 1947 in a Cowboys movie with a Kellogg box.
So I think this is a good example of how to bring best practices and products to second wall or third wall market. But on the other hand, I think brings a different challenge on the table, no? On this unbalanced wall. How do you convince large brands to invest in equipment in Somalia? I'm thinking Somalia, but I'm thinking on the third wall. This is a challenge to address? No?
Yeah, well, in healthcare, and this is another powerful message for the ones that are thinking about to create a startup in healthcare. Healthcare market is highly regulated, so they can't, by law, do marketing.
Okay, sure.
They can't. Because you cannot go to a hospital and you cannot see that they are using certain brand or certain device in you, which has been marketed as the best, okay? It's the one that's there, right? So you cannot do that. Because of that regulation, they are forced to do it via education. And every single major industry player in healthcare, they have a business unit called healthcare, professional education, surgical education, whatever, and they drive money through those initiatives to make it happen. And those initiatives, they are fully aware that 80% of their market is going to come from the Occidental countries, 20% is going to come from third world countries, but they need, because of the law, they need to be 100% balanced. So it's from a business standpoint, it's a win-win-win-win situation. It's a win for the surgeon, it's a win for the brand, it's a win for rich countries and poor countries, and it's a win for us as a company.
Of course, and I won't go forward or go deeper in that this experience will be very applied to other sectors. I'm very aware of that, okay? But in the case of AIS, that today is focused on surgery practitioners' education, okay? Most mainly in surgery.
Correct.
How do you foresee your role, the role of AIS to other parts of this value chain of health? We are in a debate that is about, everything is about data, it's about personalized medicine. How do you foresee this evolution of AIs in the future?
Yes, as every successful company, you need to see your own body, right? You need to see what's happening out. And what's happening out? In 2027, we're going to have a big crack in the healthcare space, which is the acute diseases. Okay, so you used to go to an hospital when you were feeling pain or something very acute, right? Are going to be overlapped by the chronic diseases, and the hospital has not been created for chronic diseases. So we need to stop right now thinking about the hospital concept and start thinking about the home hospital concept, which is to keep some chronic patients out with Internet of Things, with sensors, with new materials, whatever, to monitor them remotely and to have them in the hospital when it's really needed and not all the time. And here is where a company like Advances in Surgery, highly focused in a niche, can help other companies, because we have been doing this in the most complex branch of healthcare.
Sure. Okay, so we will move to empower patients and helping thanks to online education to be more active in the treatment of their disease, mainly, I guess, in chronic disease, no?
Chronic diseases, there is, I'm going to explain you this with this example. There is a group of surgeries called revisional surgeries. And what that means? It's a surgery on the top of a previous surgery, and probably that surgery was on top of a previous surgery. Our grandfathers, in the past, they had only one surgery in a lifetime. Today, you have surgeries over surgeries. And you need real-time experience. And here is where I'm going to connect both questions. Today, for those kind of surgeries, we have a system that connects a surgeon who is operating remotely in Colombia, for example, or in Venezuela, and with a surgeon with the highest experience from the States or from Europe, And we do it with 5D in real time. So the surgeon is watching in real time, in a fifth of a second, what the other surgeon is performing, and they can debate in real time about to make the best decision for that patient. So that's instant knowledge transferring in the benefit of the patient. And if that works in a complex environment, which is an operating theater, obviously it's going to work with a grandmother or a grandfather with diabetes at home, et cetera, et cetera. So to do remote knowledge transferring with two-way feedback is something that's 100%
How important is in this future, creation of a better future, to have a mixed, a multidisciplinary team, talking researchers, entrepreneurs, corporates, investors?
Well, COVID teaches us that we cannot go through the future without co-creation. I think that's one of the biggest lessons learned out of COVID. In our world, we were playing under the pre-proved scenario. So in healthcare, everything should be proved 100%, but we are all vaccinated. They ask us for our vaccination QR, right? That happens only because we were a little bit more flexible and we collaborated. Because of our connection with Johnson & Johnson and the big pharmas, we knew that they were talking between them.
Sure.
They were not competing. They were trying to really put the vaccine out as soon as possible from different approaches. Why is so important to collaborate today? Well, it's because of that, because it's warm, it's still warm, the idea of collaborating and having something in the benefit of the humanity.
Last two questions,
Sure.
be super brief, because I think that we have a lot of conversation. I will ask all the organizers to repeat this conversation next year, because I think I would love to go deeper in other angles. Why Barcelona?
Barcelona, yeah, I'm going to answer you in two ways, personal and professional wise. Personal, I think is the best place of the freaking planet.
Okay.
I love to practice mountain bike. I love the weather. This is fantastic. You know, I live out in San Sadurní d'Anoia.
Sure.
And I used to ride my motorcycle every day coming to Barcelona, and everything is beautiful. The weather is fantastic, etc., etc. The etceteras are endless. But the perception, and today Barcelona, this city is hosting the first surgical congress, global surgical congress, after the pandemic.
Wow.
So it's happening here right now, a couple of kilometers away. And all the players and everyone is not only coming because of the Congress, and they, at purpose, selected Barcelona as the city to restart the activity because of the attractiveness of the city, the environment, I don't know, you can feel it in the air. You have entrepreneurs all over the place. So
Sure.
it's a good place to start rolling things. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. One advice that you would give to all the people that are listening today?
One advice.
In entrepreneurial, no mountain bike. Yeah, I'm talking
From the technological standpoint, technology allows us anything and everything, but that doesn't mean that we should do anything and everything.
Okay.
Because technology, you know, is a trap itself, because you can do so many things, but if you lose 1 inch of your focus, you're done. That's the first one.
Okay.
And the second one, don't trust in shortcuts. If you want to succeed, you have to hammer it non-stop, 24/7. Be obsessive about not your product, but about the need and the problem that you want to solve.
Okay.
That's my advice.
So it's really a pleasure. Thanks for your generosity. It's super inspiring. I'm sure that in 2-3 years' time, there will be more startups that will move off place in other sectors, not that the AIS, taking advantage of your experience. So super honored to speak these few minutes with you. It's really a pleasure to do it in the second edition on Tech Spirit, something big we created with the excuse of the COVID, and super have this kind of conversation in Barcelona, a real example of how digital health will be transformed by a solution made in Barcelona. It's really fantastic. A big clap, please. A big clap for Rod.
Yeah.
Gracias, crack.
Thank you.